What makes a great actor? Is it their method, their charm, their raw, untethered emotion? On today's episode of Top Spot, we're pulling back the curtain on our favorite actor to find out why they landed at the top of the list. Ranker went through over 2 million votes for actors ranging from Christian Bale to Charlie Chaplin and Denzel Washington to Marlon Brando. But it was none other than Tom Hanks who landed at the top spot.
Good job, guys. That's fabulous. That's good. That's good.
There's no doubt that Tom Hanks is America's favorite father figure, and it's an indisputable fact that he's a national treasure. I mean, just check out this list from Ranker, this list from Ranker, or even this list from Ranker. But how did this 80s TV star become the GOAT of American cinema? Let's take a step back and look at how Hanks started. Up until 1984, Tom Hanks was finding steady work on broadcast television, popping up in sitcoms from Family Ties to Taxi. And for 2 years, his largest starring role was Kip Wilson on the ABC comedy Bosom Buddies.
You talking to me? You talking to me? I don't see anybody else here. You must be talking to me.
Hanks could have easily just ended up as that funny guy from TV, but his career took a turn after working on the set of Happy Days. It was there that he made friends with screenwriters Lowell Ganz and Babaloo Mandel, who had a movie in the works with Walt Disney Productions called Splash. Hanks was nowhere near the top of the list for the casting of Splash. Director Ron Howard and producer Brian Grazer wanted a big name for the film and went after Jeff Bridges, Chevy Chase, Richard Gere, Michael Keaton, Dudley Moore, Kevin Kline, John Travolta, and Bill Murray. All these actors passed on the project for varying reasons, from scheduling conflicts to general disinterest. Meanwhile, pressure was mounting from the studios when it was announced that another mermaid film from Warner Brothers was in the works. Director Ron Howard made his promise to Disney that he could make the film quick and cheap, and that's when Tom was suggested for the role. Because of all this, Tom has always joked that he was the 11th choice for the lead role in Splash. Hanks' performance as a lonely bachelor chasing down a mysterious mermaid felt familiar and grounded despite it being a fantasy film. In this role, Tom Hanks was able to connect with audiences through his ability to portray the everyman and step into that role with ease that could not be taught. His natural charm and charisma was on full display, and audiences immediately connected with his ability to deliver dialogue and show his shifting emotions of happiness, absurdity, stress, and heartbreak in a matter of milliseconds. Tom Hanks was incredible at being a human being. Splash gave Hanks the recognition he needed to establish himself as a movie star. But the movies that followed were mediocre hits that relied on big co-stars like Dan Aykroyd in Dragnet, Shelley Long in The Money Pit, and John Candy in Volunteers. While these comedy juggernauts of the early 80s were definitely a driving force in the comedy, it's actually Hanks' performance that made these films work. Despite being casted as supporting characters, Tom Hanks shines through as the everyman. It's through these supporting roles that you can truly see how good Tom Hanks is at driving a film. Hanks would wind up in these supporting roles in buddy comedies for 4 years. That is, until Big.
That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that I changed into a grown-up, but I'm really just a kid.
Fine, Josh, you're a kid.
Steven Spielberg was originally attached to direct Big with Harrison Ford as the leading role of Josh Baskin. But Spielberg dropped out after the birth of his son Max, and leaving with him was also Harrison Ford. Penny Marshall came on board, and the lead role was offered to Kevin Costner, then Warren Beatty, then Steve Guttenberg, Dennis Quaid, and even Albert Brooks, all of them turning down the role. Finally, Robert De Niro was locked in as the lead with Elizabeth Perkins, and the picture was all green lights. But at the last minute, De Niro had scheduling conflicts. Hanks only came into the mix as a replacement because when big stars say no, Tom Hanks says yes. In a way, Tom Hanks was Forrest Gumping his way into movie roles long before he would end up playing Forrest Gump. If you've seen Big, you might argue that Hanks is irreplaceable in the role. He delivers childlike wonder and joy through the film's more intense themes about love, relationships, and the struggles of adulthood. Tom Hanks turned what could have been a gimmicky character or a terrifying madman into a real person. A lost boy trying to make sense of a complicated world, just wanting to get back home to his mom. Hanks found truth in an absurd and sometimes inappropriate premise. He grounded the fantasy and delivered a message about growing up and learning to be happy exactly where you are. This is what sets Tom Hanks apart from other comedy actors in the 80s. His honesty, his spirit for life, and his ability to remind us what matters. Big would become Tom Hanks' vehicle to serious recognition. The film earned Tom Hanks his first Academy Award nomination and took him from co-star to headliner. If the 80s made Hanks a leading man, the 90s made Hanks a star. With Oscar nominations under his belt, Hanks was now afforded the luxury of being able to pick and choose his roles. He began pivoting away from zany comedies and began moving towards more emotionally rich dramas. In 1993, Hanks exceeded expectations when he starred in the legal drama Philadelphia. The film was a groundbreaking story and the first of its kind to portray AIDS and homophobia. Hanks transformed himself into the role of a gay lawyer suing for discrimination, and he sunk deeply into the severity of this role. He lost 35 pounds and thinned his hair to appear sickly, completely immersing himself into the role both internally and externally. He worked with over 50 real AIDS victims and became an extremely active advocate for the cause. At the end of filming, which happened to be in December, he provided an AIDS-stricken family with a Christmas tree and gifts, bringing a small amount of levity to a family during an otherwise difficult time. Philadelphia was an enormous success, and at 37 years old, Tom Hanks accepted his first Academy Award for Best Actor in a Motion Picture.
God bless you all. God have mercy on us all, and God bless America.
The very next year, Hanks starred in Robert Zemeckis' Forrest Gump. The story of an American folk hero was a revelation for its time, and probably one of the first roles that really pops into your head when you think of the name Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks didn't just embody the character of Forrest Gump, he actually became him. This role would be an incredibly difficult one to tackle in the hands of a lesser performer, but Hanks walks the fine line of playing to the height of Forrest Gump's intelligence rather than playing to the limits of it. There's never a moment in Forrest Gump in which we feel like Forrest is a victim. Instead, we see him as a hero, tackling every obstacle in front of him. This is all possible due to the delicate touch that Hanks approaches the role with. Forrest Gump brought Hanks his second consecutive win for Best Actor in the Academy Awards and positioned him to capitalize on his popularity as a beacon of hope.
Thank you. God bless you in this room, and God bless you all around the world.
In the late 90s and early 2000s, Hanks became cinema's all-American hero. He played a NASA commander in Apollo 13, a cowboy sheriff in Toy Story, a prison guard in The Green Mile, a lone survivor in Castaway, and an army captain in Saving Private Ryan. Saving Private Ryan would mark another turning point in Hanks' career. The epic drama directed by Steven Spielberg is known as one of the greatest war films of all time, and will rely on Hanks to act as an anchor for the ensemble cast. The film is known for its realistic depictions of war. Hanks has even said that during the filming of the 23-minute Omaha Beach scene, he was truly terrified. He said he knew in his head it was fake, but still wasn't prepared for how tactile it was. Tom said the air literally went pink and the noise was deafening and there were bits and pieces of stuff falling all on top of you.
It's not hard to imagine, what it must have looked like. What it must have felt like, however, is something that guys like myself will never know.
The fear on Hanks' face is real. Hanks' depiction of an English teacher turned leader in command would not only earn him another Oscar nomination, but would impact real veterans in the story it mirrored. The Army eventually even inducted Tom into the Ranger Hall of Fame for his authentic portrayal. Hanks' work as an actor not only influences the entertainment industry, but influences real people his art reflects. This is another aspect of his work that sets him apart from other actors, his ability to shine light on stories and people that matter. We find this to be especially true with the roles Tom Hanks has selected more recently. His roles as Captain Phillips, Sully, Walt Disney, and Fred Rogers have all seen the actor bring important people to the forefront of modern cinema, and have earned him a handful of awards and nominations. Yes, he approaches these roles with the truth and honesty that you would expect from a Tom Hanks performance, but more importantly, his performances give a powerful degree of reverence for the individuals he's choosing to portray. Tom Hanks gets to play these roles because he has earned our trust through decades of stellar performances that have made us laugh, cry, and feel. Tom Hanks is one of the most celebrated performers of all time. His status as a cultural icon is driven largely by his talent and ability to select roles, but you could say that about any top-tier actor. Christian Bale, Denzel Washington, and Leonardo DiCaprio are all performers that know how to select a role and deliver a performance. What catapults Tom Hanks into an echelon beyond that of his peers is his ability to connect with how we, as human beings, truly feel at any given moment in time. His performances feel genuine, and often convey a kindness and warmth that instantly tethers us to his choices as an actor. On and off screen, Hanks delivers gripping and eclectic performances to the silver screen in a way that feels honest. The level of honesty Hanks brings to his work instills in us a trust in his overall body of work. We know that when Tom Hanks is involved in a project, it will be approached with sincerity and respect not only for the director's vision, but with respect for us as an audience. Tom Hanks is more than a talented actor. He's an idea, a pursuit of greatness, and a reminder that good guys do finish first. And that's why he's earned our viewers' top spot for Best Actor of all time.
Damn.
That's it for this one, folks. What's your favorite Tom Hanks performance? Did we miss anything? Feel free to let us know in the comments section below, and thanks for tuning in to Top Spot.